You know, going to Paducah with Julian, and I've experienced both of these, is like going to a Green Bay Packers game with Paul Hornung, okay? Trust me, they're very similar in everything from the time you get here to the time you leave. But anyway, it's great to have, you know, Julian tells the truth. And I say this, I have great respect for him because when I joined John Y. Brown's business, of course I go back many years with Bill. We were both pretty young men at the time. And I really, the one thing I tried to do in my life is try to understand what I don't know. And I got this task put upon me as a young kid to run the legislature for John Y. Brown, Jr., and I thought John had lost his mind. And I knew one person in the House and Senate. I knew a guy named Bill Kenton, who was the Speaker of the House, and probably the right guy to know. Now, I will say that. He was probably the right guy to know, but I didn't realize how difficult the task would be. And the two things that I give Julian credit for. One is, Julian took the patience as the former governor, had the patience as the former governor to spend 5 nights teaching me the state budget. And if there's ever been a governor that understood the state budget better than Julian Carroll, I don't know who it is. And then in addition, Julian had 2 or 3 pretty talented people in his administration that were young that I was able to co-opt into our administration. One was a fellow named Pat Abel, one was a fellow named Bill Coleman, one was a fellow named Tom Dorman. And I took those 3 guys with me, and not only did I run the legislature for John Y. and had a remarkably successful run in the legislature, but I took those guys with me the next 4 years while I was Secretary of Commerce in the state of Kentucky. And the skill sets that they had is what really helped me do what I did as Secretary of Commerce. I think helped that governor be, if nothing else, John Y. Jr. was known for his economic development efforts as governor of the state of Kentucky, and I'd like to think I had a lot to do with that. Secondly, is that as a result of that experience, I always thought I wanted to go into government. I actually considered running for Congress back then. And John Y. and a friend of mine, W.T. Young, talked me out of it and said, go make money. Go make money and come back when you've had the experience in the private sector and you've got money and you don't have to worry about special interest groups that you've got to respond to all the time. You'll be more effective. So I did that. And as many of you know, I thought my calling was to be governor, and I worked hard at it. And last year, you know, we had a good race, a difficult race in the sense that it involved a lot of people in it. And we ran second, and Steve, who's been a friend of mine for 35 years, since I've also known since I knew Julian, became our governor, and we had a very positive campaign. And I think that being positive is one of the things that helped him come out of the primary with a 20% lead and took it all the way to the finish line. So this has been a little bit more challenging, this primary, because there's been several in it. And I have, as I kiddingly said, our campaign has been about me and what we want to accomplish. And his campaign has been about me and what he wants to say about me. But the truth of the matter is the public has seen me statewide. We've been statewide. Tomorrow, we got an election that's going to be statewide. We got a presidential race here. It's going to draw a lot of people out here. But I didn't get into this race to win a primary. Tomorrow's the primary. I'd like to think that we're in good shape, but I don't take anything for granted. And that's why we're in Paducah, Kentucky today, because I'm thinking about November. Now we got a senator that's been a senator for 24 years, and a lot of questions are going to come up about what that means for Kentucky to have a senator there 24 years. And I sort of have a little different view than a lot of people. If 24 years means that you're going to use your experience and your seniority to continue to hold your seat in Washington by taking care of everybody else in the country, or taking the country the wrong direction, whether it's on a war in Iraq, whether it's the health care across this country, or whether it's the economy, it doesn't do you much good. It might be better off to have somebody inexperienced. I want to keep everybody mindful of the fact that we've got someone who's probably had a pretty good chance to be the Democratic nominee for President of the United States. He's got 4 years in the U.S. Senate. Seniority isn't important as it used to be. They want skill sets up there now. You see a guy like Jim Webb. Jim Webb has also been there 4 years. He's become the leading spokesman in the Democratic Senate for veterans issues. I'd like to think with my skill set as a job builder, my skill set in the healthcare industry, that I can become a leader overnight based on the fact that I have a lot of unique experiences. I'm the only one running the Senate race, I think, that actually served our country. I was in the Army Reserves, the National Guard in the middle of the Vietnam era. I'm the only one that's actually produced a lot of jobs at a time when economy is really an important issue, both in the private sector and the public sector. And I've had the ability to have worked for a Democratic governor who I think handled many things in a bipartisan, broad, opening fashion that made him successful. I talked with Julian about it on the plane today, that he brought Republicans in. He brought those who were against him in the primary in, because he brought in skill sets. He wasn't an ideologue, he brought in skill sets. And it's time that we got a job done. We got to get a job done. It isn't about what party you are necessarily. It's about what your values are and what you want to do. And if we've ever had a time where we need some people in the U.S. Senate of this country that can do something, there's only 100 of them. I mean, you can either be an obstructionist, like so often, you know, Mitch McConnell really has a reputation of being Dr. No up there, or you can be someone who participates in the problem. And I think the fact that the Democrats have a unique opportunity tomorrow to put someone out there to represent them, who has been a Democrat his entire life. And yes, I have occasionally, you know, strayed from the flock when I thought it was the right thing to do, because I am an American first, and I'm a Kentuckian second. And I'm going to do what I think is right for the state of Kentucky and for the United States of America. And we need people who aren't partisan, who actually can get people engaged and involved. And one of the things you're going to see in our campaign is you're going to see Democrats who know my democratic values. And this is not about me. This is about changing direction of this state by replacing the U.S. Senator who is not representing our interest well. And I believe that I have shown in my background that I can get lots of people around the table, whether it's labor with management, whether it's Democrats, independents, Republicans, whether it's men and women. I have shown in my background I can get a lot of people to come to the table, and I think it's been one of the best traits I've had in my life as a CEO, as Secretary of Commerce, and as a human being. Whether I'm dealing with charities that I'm trying to help get off the ground, whether it's real estate development that I'm trying to help in the community, whether it is my own business, whether it's politics, whatever it is. This is the time to have problem solvers, not the time to have partisan politicians. And I am a strong Democrat, and I have strong democratic values. But this isn't about party politics. We are one country. We are one country that's in a ditch. We have 81% of the country saying we need to change direction. We're in a war that people question why we're in it, but we know the results. 4,000 soldiers have been killed, 30,000 have been injured, many lifelong injuries. We got an economy that's suffering. I read the story in the USA Today last Wednesday. Couples 71 and 69 years old in such despair that they couldn't pay their mortgage. And they were so embarrassed by it that they both decided to end their lives by turning their car on in their house, and both took their lives. That's what happens in difficult times. Not only do we have people face it, but they're embarrassed to say it to people. They can't work through it. I don't care whether it's the mortgages. I don't care whether it's health insurance. I don't care whether it's a loss of job. Part of it's going through the experience of it, but the other part is living with it and the embarrassment of it. And we've got more of that going on in this country right now than I've seen in my lifetime. And I've seen some pretty bad economic times. This is the worst one of my lifetime.